Well, it's post show number 2 of Clark County Lights. Man, tonight it just had more crazy racing going on, more passes, more takeouts. It was crazy. Tonight we did Supermini, 250 Intermediate, and Pro Class once again. Let's start off with Supermini. What do you think of Austin Black? Is he ever going to get beat by anybody?
You know what? I don't know if anyone will give him a real challenge, but last weekend, there were some challenges, but this weekend, I think it was just his. It was his race. It was his moment to shine.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the Supermini class. Supermini class. What a crazy class there is. You got to pick your favorites. Austin Black, Nathan Barnes, a whole bunch of fun riders out there. Heat number 1, gate drops, and first to the turn, guess what? It is number 55, Austin Black, out in front once again, just like last week, and he would pull away on that Motorsport Hillsboro Kawasaki 2014 edition. Nathan Barnes would be right behind him in second place, and third place would be Connor Flatua, but it was all Austin Black this moto. Black was on a charge. Barnes going big on the triple. He was looking really good on his Honda 150, but Flatua was right behind him, and he wanted that second place. Barnes tried so much to keep him behind there, but eventually it would change. Austin Black still looking good in his plaid sweatshirt. He was ready for the main event. He was looking good all night, busting all the triples, and Fatu would finally get the pass on Nathan Barnes. And Nathan Barnes would settle in for third place. Fatu would get second, and it was all Austin Black winning this moto. Heat 2, and guess what? It's Kidder McKee with the whole shot and the early lead. Looking good, dominating this heat race. Trevor Rayleigh looking good in second place on that number 2. He was on a backup bike on that Kawasaki since he destroyed the other one in practice. Still tripling everything. Looks like he was not injured from that crash. He was looking good on that Kawasaki and ready for the main event. Tanner Paulson was having a battle with Peyton Gustafsson, and it was a pretty crazy battle since Tanner Paulson was also on a backup bike since his Suzuki blew up in practice. And even though he was on a backup bike, it still just was really great for him. Ryder Fisher followed right behind him, and he would try to catch up to Tanner Paulson for the number 3 spot, and he would not let Paulson out of his sight. Paulson was still there in third, but guess what? Ryder Fisher getting closer, tripling, and he would eventually get the pass here coming up into this 180 right after the finish line. He had it all set up right to the inside. Guess what? There's nowhere to go for Paulson. Fisher makes the pass, and he will get into third place. Overall winner for heat number 2 was Kidder McKee. Supermini class was stacked for the main event. Gate drops, and it looks like it's going to be Nathan Barnes and Kidder McKee getting the whole shot. But they would get piled up in the turn, and Austin Black would be left all out front on that number 55 Motorsport Hillsboro Kawasaki machine. Following closely behind him was the 112 of Cameron McKee, and it was all Austin Black. He was gone. From start to finish, it looked like no one was going to be able to catch him. Right behind him was the number 47 of Connor Flatua. Trevor Rayleigh trying to get in the third, but it was all McKee. McKee here, number 187, had to battle through the pack, and it just wasn't looking good for him. Fisher also had to come through the pack, and unfortunately he'd go down with the number 820 of Jared Cylinder, and that would just leave bad to worse for Fisher. Austin Black overall would win the race. Main event 1 drops, and first to the turn, it's Mason Holt on the 554, and Stanky going down, and he would have to pick it up and put on an RC charge to get back up into the front. Mason Holt out in front with J.R. Veal right behind. Veal would get the pass on Holt in the back section over the triple, and he would go to work. The veteran, number 562 on the Honda. Veal still up front, looking good, bouncing back from last week's misfortune with him going down last week in the first turn. And the veteran was looking really great out there, holding it against everybody. Stanky coming through the pack, trying to get up in the first, but it was a deep field of competition. Holt makes a mistake. Stanky crosses his lines, gets to the inside, and he would get the pass on Holt. But Mason Holt says, you know what, that's not enough. I want to get the pass back fast. He would, and Stanky would run into the back of him, going down for the second time in this main event, and he'd have to put a charge on. Veal still in first. Steigel getting passed by the number 262 of Not It. Not It was looking good on his Monster Energy Kawasaki, and he would be in the second place, but unfortunately Jared Stanky rebounding, getting on Steigel and Not It. He would be putting on a charge up front because he still wanted to win this moto even though laps counting down. Veal's coming close to the end. He wants this win. He wants to show his kids that he can win against everybody else in the pro class. He wins the moto, and Stanky somehow passes Not It right at the end for second place. Moto 2 Pro Class, and it is Mason Holt once again getting the whole shot on that Motorsport Hillsboro Suzuki. Stanky having issues again. He would have to fight through the pack if he wanted to win this moto. Mason Holt looking really good. He would lead lap 1. Veal getting the pass into second place. He would try to go after Holt, but Mason Holt looking really great. He wanted to get this overall, and he tried to pull away from Stanky and the rest of the field. Stanky getting the pass on J.R. Veal right there in the turn, and he would get in the second. He would go after Mason Holt. It was like flood in the water for Stanky. Stanky catching up to Mason Holt, and he would put the pressure on Holt. Holt looked like he was starting to tighten up with the pressure that Stanky was putting on him, and he would leave the door open just enough for Stanky to get the pass there, and Stanky would take the lead. But just to make sure, since Moto 1 didn't go out so well with him and Holt, he would brake check Holt, and he would maintain first place, and he would start pulling away. Looking great, going for the overall win. He would get first, Stanky with the win, Holt getting second. .250 intermediate class, Moto 1 gate drops, and it's the 616 of Jimmy Holmes cutting everyone off, including Ryan Martin, to get to the whole shot and get up into first. Austin Breda on the Kawasaki coming inside, making sure he would get in the first early. He would open the door for himself and Ryan Martin to sneak past Holmes and get to the lead. Ryan Martin and Breda getting into it. They get stuck in the turn right by the starting gate, and it would put Holmes back in the first, which would also allow Flora to get in the second place. Martin and Flora battling over second place. Martin would force Flora outside, which would leave the door open for Martin to get in the second, and Austin Breda would be in fourth place, but not for long. He puts the stuff on Flora. Flora hits the deck. Breda is in third place. Final lap, Ryan Martin coming inside of Holmes. He wants the lead. He wants to win this moto. He puts his number 26 Beaverton Motorcycles Yamaha up in front, and he takes the overall. Holmes gets second. Austin Breda gets third. Main event number 2, 250 intermediate class. And first to the turn is Austin Breda, making sure Martin doesn't get the whole shot. He would be out in front. Martin would be in second. Third would be Flora on the Honda. And it was all Breda and Martin once again out in front. And Breda charging on that 728, Martin on that 125. And it was a battle between Flora, Holmes, and Feckler for that third position. Feckler and Flora getting together, but it was all Flora in third. Fourth is Feckler. But the main race out in front, everyone talking about it, was between Brita and Martin. And Martin would try to get the pass on Brita, but Brita just enough time not to get hit by Martin. Brita still holding on the first, giving a little high five wave action in the air. Martin would have to settle for second. Brita gets first, but overall, Martin gets the overall. Man, Clark County is the place to be for all the battles and everything. You're getting your money's worth every time you come in the door. It's always going to be crazy here. I can't wait till next week. What about you?
You know, you're right, and it's worth the $10 just to come in here and watch just the amazing racing that goes on. Elaine puts on an amazing show every Saturday, and I think next week it's going to be another amazing show. And you know what? I can't wait to race and watch all the pro races, intermediate races. Even the little 50 guys are just hauling butt around here.
Well, that's a wrap for post show number 2. This is David McKibben. I'm Stephen Kristoff. Make sure to check out the post show and pre-show for next week on episode 3 on Clark County Lights and Kristoff Photography. We're signing out.